Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 8 Matsurebayashi. Last episode was a short while ago, and by a short while ago, I mean it was last week. That happens, though. I miss episodes very often with this series, and I'm sorry for that, but I don't know, maybe I'll eventually get back on track. We'll see. Regardless, though, last episode, I don't have my fragment list out anymore because I don't think I need it. But I have it right here in my drawer. We did only 3 fragments. We did Keiichi Mayabara, which introduced us to Keiichi, as if we particularly needed that at this point. We did An Invitation to an End, which was Takano talking to some random bitch, and it was like half an hour. And we did June 1983, which was the preparation of the game board. And so now all we have left is the fragments of all the different chapters, including Matsurebayashi, which we will try to power through this episode. I don't know how long it's going to take. I was told before last episode that I'd be able to get the rest of the fragments done in less than half an episode, and those 3 alone took half an episode, so I don't know. Anyways, so the last episode of Sotsu has aired, and so it is time to discuss it. So, spoiler time for all of Sotsu. If you do not want spoilers, then now is your time to mute. Otherwise, let's begin. Excuse me. Oh god, my throat. Anyways. Sorry, that was gross, but yeah, that ending was something, that's for sure. I'll just start by saying, would it be wrong of me to say that nothing was resolved? Like, I really feel like, aside from Satoko trying to torture Rika, and Rika trying to fight back against Satoko, nothing really was resolved. Like, Rika went and did her thing, Satoko went and did her thing. The end. So, I feel like that's... if that's the end, nothing else, I think it's kind of lame. Personally, I think it's a little lame, but regardless, otherwise, this episode more felt like indirect setup for Umineko and by showing the existence of Burn Castle and Lambda Delta, which they didn't explicitly do, but they kind of did, you know? And by indirect setup for Umineko, I don't mean that there's necessarily going to be more. Like, there's going to be a Higurashi something else, or an Umineko something else. I feel like if all it's supposed to be is an indirect sequel to Umineko, by implying the birth of Burn Castle and Lambda Delta, then cool. I'm fine with that, I guess. Because those two are very apathetic. Burn Castle and Lambda Delta are. So, with how apathetic this, what's the word? Resolution is to go in Sotsu, I think it's kind of apt. But regardless, to talk about the episode itself, because I'm really getting ahead of myself already, a minute detail that I found particularly interesting was when Satoko, towards the end, said something about giving this body back to Satoko Hojo, which I'd say heavily implies that she was Lambda, but just left, which I guess is something they can do now. Also, fucking Tiny Aowa, that's something. It's even weirder that, like, though, that they gave her a fang after making her tiny little baby, which, okay, sure. That's anime, though. That's anime. I'm a little concerned, though, that we saw nothing of Rika after she left on the train, but that's probably just something I'm overthinking. A big critique I have, though, assuming that this isn't meant to be an apathetic resolution that implies the existence of Burn Castle and Lambda Delta, that then indirectly ties into Umineko, if it was actually meant to be a good resolution, like a happily ever after type deal, where the audience is supposed to be satisfied, if it's supposed to be a satisfying ending, then I am very disappointed that Keiichi, Rena, Mion, and Shion had nothing to do with resolving the final conflict, unless you count Keiichi, Rena, and Mion spouting their philosophies about friendship. So, yeah, they didn't do jack shit. It was still nice seeing how they were involved, but they did jack shit. So, yeah. I also don't feel comfortable saying that Satoko was redeemed. Like, I feel like there's nothing that's meant to imply that she's learned from her mistakes, or that she's even recognized anything as a mistake. More that Rika just kinda doesn't fucking care. So, yeah. However, I can kind of accept that Satoko doesn't need to be redeemed. Either A, because it wasn't Satoko the whole time, it was Lambda Delta, so there's no sins on Satoko's conscience. When she becomes a witch, which was technically in Tatari Damashi / Akashi, she's kind of done nothing, Satoko has. From then on, it's just Lambda, and yeah, I guess it's fair to say, like, Satoko's influence in Oni-Akashi wasn't super damaging, and her influence in Watanagashi was not incredibly damaging either. She was really, really indirect in Oni-Akashi. Really, all she did was inject Rena, wait for Rika to kill herself, then kill herself. Watanagashi, she took much more of a front seat role, and by front seat, I more mean creating an opportunity, of course, aside from injecting Mion, creating an opportunity for Mion to kill Rika. Although I don't think that was something she intended to do, to be fair. And then later on, confronting Mion and killing her. I still, though, don't really feel comfortable saying that she's redeemed, but I can accept that she doesn't need to be because Lambda Delta bullshit. But, and I don't know how to really explain this, so I'll just read from my notes. Maybe the point was that this series existed to make the so-called quote-unquote birth of Burncastle and Lambda Delta happen in an implied way, and result more so in Rika becoming disillusioned with her existence and become more apathetic. There was this meme that I saw circling around on Twitter essentially saying that having a corruption arc for the protagonist is more interesting than having a redemption arc for the antagonist. And I feel like that was exactly what we got here in Go and Sotsu. Because Satoko never got redeemed, Rika just got corrupted. So, yeah, I do think it was a good ending if that was the purpose of the series. But if the purpose was to create and resolve a conflict between Satoko and Rika, then I think it failed. Badly, even. So, yeah, that's my thoughts specifically on the episode, but, you know, we're still gonna kind of tie in the episode with the rest of this discussion, which is my final thoughts on Sotsu. Specifically, the presentation, animation, and direction are insanely good. If nothing else, the show was produced super well. It's well drawn, the animation's great, the direction and pacing, everything, like, all the pieces are in place to make a really fucking good story. But the writing feels weird. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's just way too fucking ambiguous. Since it's so ambiguous, I cannot decide whether or not I think it's good or bad, unless we get either an official explanation or a sequel that ties into Umineko and or Kikonia. So, I feel like it's gotta... it's hard to talk, you know? I feel like it's gotta tie into Umineko and Kikonia in some way, with the two references to Veer, and with how Rika and Satoko were basically verbatim, quoting Burn and Lambda from the end of Umineko when they, got separated, at the train station. So yeah, I don't think we're done, but we might not get anything new, if that makes sense. I kinda already explained that, but if all this season was the creation of Burncastle and Lambda, then everything that happens after is implied to just be Umineko, then I'm fine with having nothing more. But if we do get more, that does some other big twist in Umineko's storyline, maybe even make the fucking Rosatris theory, canonical, That would be weird. But if it does some other big twist with Umineko's storyline to possibly imply a Kikonia tie-in, then that's also cool. But I personally would probably be happiest if we don't get a direct continuation to Sotsu, just a actually competent Umineko anime adaptation. With the same art style as Go and Sotsu, if possible. Because I'd like to see how the Umineko characters look in this art style. I think it does a real good job of portraying Higurashi. Although Umineko has overall more of a somber-ish tone, but that doesn't mean it can't work with a little bit of wiggle room, I'd say. But yeah, an actually competent Umineko adaptation with the same art style to imply it's the same universe, and some callbacks to Higurashi from Burn and Lambda to more or less imply, yes, this is a sequel to Sotsu, but it's not specifically a sequel to Sotsu, it's also Umineko. So if that's what ends up happening, then I think I can be perfectly happy with what Go and Sotsu serve in the overall story of When They Cry. And scene. So yeah, Go and Sotsu were very fucking enjoyable, very entertaining. They made me think a shit ton, but it really depends on what happens next, if anything happens next, to determine whether or not I like their story. Because it's really good. Like, the concept is so fucking good, but I feel like the ending, with what it is, potentially makes the whole thing fall flat on its face, if it's implying anything other than Burn Castle and Them the Delta have been created, ties into Umineko indirectly, the end. If it's anything other than that, then god fucking ouchie damn it. I will still agree that a lot of the answers given throughout Sotsu, even into Kagurashi, were not necessary. I feel like, really, what could have happened is just give more info. Like, this is the fucking writing major workshopping mode coming out of me right now. Because, like, I don't think I'd be able to make the story all that much better because I'm not a professional writer. At least, yet. Hopefully one day. But I feel like something that really, really, really could have made Go and Sotsu better overall was if the Akashi arcs were condensed into, like, one Akashi arc, you know? If it was just, like, the revealing everything chapter. I don't know what revealing is in Japanese, but you know what? Let's look it up. Revealing in Japanese.
Akiraka.
Akiraka. Although it says Akaraka. Okay. Reveal, divulge, revealing dudes?
Akasu.
Akasu Akashi. There we fucking go. The revealing... Wait, Akashi means revealing. Fuck. My bad. Everything in Japanese. I hope this doesn't give me a list of every word. Subete ga. That's two different words. Play it.
Subete.
Subete. Subete Akashi. I don't fucking know. I don't know Japanese, so I don't know what a good arc name would be, but if you just condense all the Akashi arcs into one Akashi arc that develops Satoko, like, you could probably make it like 5 or 6 episodes, develop Satoko, speed through Oni Akashi, Watanagashi, and Tatari Akashi's answers, stop repeating scenes. I don't know how many times we saw Rika's dance, but it was fucking absurd, bro. It was absolutely fucking absurd. Condense all the actual big shit, because, like, Oni Akashi, yeah, you can show Rena being fucking crazy. Condense that to, like, 2 episodes. Like, 1.5 even. And then, like, halfway through episode 2, you have Rika killing herself and Satoko. Well, no, you can probably even condense that into fucking 1 episode if you really tried. You're just like, okay. Satoko's like, alright, I'm here, I'm gonna fuck some shit up. Speed through time. I need to think about what to do. I'm going to inject Rena, because I think this will accelerate her very obvious Hinamizawa syndrome symptoms. Also, please make Rika less of a fucking dumbass. Oh my god, she was dumb in Oni Damashi and Oni Akashi. What the fuck? But you get my point. I don't need to fully explain it. You can probably condense all the Akashi arcs down into, like, 5 or 6 episodes. I'd say more like 6. From 11, yes. And then put them after Satakawashi in Sotsu. Move Satakawashi to Sotsu. Just do that. You can probably condense a little bit of the information in Satakawashi also, but I'm not going to say that you have to. So, Satakawashi was how many episodes? 7? It was 7 or 8 episodes. I guess I'm Googling again. Higurashi Wiki. Arcs. Extra arcs? Would it be under extra arcs? No, this is the names of the fucking console arcs. Characters. Hojo Satoko. Fucking main antagonist of Go and Sotsu. I accidentally clicked on Sotsu. There's Go. Satakawashi Hen was 7 episodes. Okay, so yeah. Take Satakawashi, which is 7 episodes. Put that in Sotsu. So after Nekodamashi end it, I would also say extend the Go arcs, like the Damashi arcs, to make them have more hints. So you could probably extend Oni Damashi to 5 or 6 episodes, Watanagashi to 5 or 6, Tatari Damashi to 5 or 6, well, Tatari Damashi was already 5. I'm not sure it really needs 2 more, like 1 more, and put some more shit in the other 5 episodes that already existed. And then Neko Damashi, I think, was 5 episodes, I don't remember. But yeah, I guess, sure. Oni Damashi, 6 episodes. Wata Damashi, 6 episodes. Tatari Damashi, 7 episodes. Neko Damashi, 5 episodes. That's 24 episodes. That's your season. End it with the twist that Satoko is the fucking culprit. When Sotsu begins, you start with Satakawashi, which is 7 episodes. You get 5 episodes of, fucking Akashi stuff. And then 4 episodes of Kagurashi. And that's 16 episodes. 7 plus 5 is 12, plus 4 is 16. So yeah, that would be good. Extend the Damashi arcs. Make them so that they have more clues, more information to make it more of a mystery. Reveal the culprit at the end. Sotsu is all the character development for the villain. How she did the things that she did in as interesting and condensed a way as possible without repetitive scenes. Condense it from 11 episodes down to 5 or 6. And then Kagurashi. I think Kagurashi is fine with what it's doing. I don't mind the answers to Neko Damashi being in there personally. Like, in the grand scheme of things. Because there's a story happening outside of it, you know? With Hanyu and Aowa. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. That's how I would personally say Go and Sotsu would be improved. But for what it's worth, it's fine. So this was like 18 and a half minutes of me talking about Sotsu. But it seems like we will probably never have to do this again. I'm Godzi, and this is the end of my Sotsu discussions. It's been fun. I don't know if there will be a third Higurashi whatever the fucky, or if we'll have an Umineko adaptation. If we get an Umineko adaptation and it's just an adaptation, I'm probably not going to do discussions like this, because, like, how would I? Where am I going to go? Am I going to replay Umineko? Like, no. I could do separate videos, I guess, if it's something unique. But if I don't do separate videos, I might just discuss it on my Twitter rather than discuss it in an existing Let's Play or make separate videos. So, yeah, Sotsu is done. It's been fun. That's the end. Let's play the game. Welcome back, guys. That took fucking forever, but that's fine. Here we go, a fragment of Himatsubushi. This piece is the only one that's so distorted. That's because it's from long before June 1983. Therefore, the existence of this piece is no effect. Wrong word, I think, right? Whatever, whatsoever in the game we're playing on this board. But is this really a useless piece? The identity of Rule Y has been completely exposed by now. With the backing of a mighty organization, it is powerful enough to swallow up the small solidarity of individuals. I almost give up on this game because of its gave up, I guess, on this game because of its irrational power. That's why I'm thinking, that maybe there's a piece hidden somewhere that's strong enough to fight against such a formidable enemy. Mamoru Akasaka works at the police headquarters in Tokyo, and might have power to stand up to such a vast conspiracy. Can his power withstand even Rule Y? Just like Keiichi Maebara defeated Rule Z, will he be able to defeat Rule Y so easily? We need everyone's strength, so Akasaka's strength is needed as well. Oh, these are short as fuck. Oh. Okay. Unless it's gonna continue with more Himatsubushi stuff. No, that's it? Wowie, okay. Well, this is gonna be quick. A fragment of Onikakushi. In order for Keiichi Maebara to become a game piece that can lead everyone, there's something he has to learn about first. The piece that's very painful, pitiful, and sad. He has to learn about his friends, and he has to learn to not doubt them. He doesn't know the importance of trusting his friends. He doesn't know, just yet. A slight mistrust grows into paranoia, and Keiichi Maebara is trapped within Rule X. At the end of Rule X, Keiichi leaves a sad note and dies. While it may be very bitter and very painful, it also puts him through the process of learning something very important. Hey, Hanyu, you didn't have to apologize. In the few days he left Hinamizawa to attend his relative's funeral, tragically he experienced an outbreak. But I think this was necessary, as his first step towards learning something important. The very first step towards smoking out Rule X and eventually defeating it. When this piece was all I had, I didn't even think of that, though. Damn, these are quick ones. Okay. Good to know, good to know. Alright, so I want to say something, just kind of overall, about Onikakushi. I've probably more or less said this before, but god damn it, dude. It's very important for Onikakushi to be the first chapter. Like, sure, chronologically, might not make the most sense. It does hide a lot of shit from the reader. But then, like, by the time you get to Mayakashi, you kind of understand its role. Like, it's there to confuse you from the get-go. Which is why the torture chamber was so fun. I've also mentioned the differences between the anime and the VN. And my arguments for why the anime could be better than the VN adaptation. Well, the anime adaptation's better than the VN, I mean. Because the anime does not give you these answers that so clearly makes it so that Keiichi is the one going crazy. And his friends are not out to kill him. Because in the anime, there's none of that. Which you could argue is a bad adaptation, but I think it kind of makes the mystery a little cooler, so. Yeah, disagree with me if you want. I understand. I understand if you disagree with me, but yeah, that's basically my point. Alright, a fragment of Sumihoroboshi. This game piece is a very important meaning for us. What, is it just going to talk about every individual character? Because it showed us for the first time that it was possible to poke a hole in the fate of the June of 1983. To start from the conclusion, everything gets taken in by Rule Y at the end, and all our effort is wasted. But we're challenging the great law that governs this game board, Rule X, head on. We're using everything we've learned so far from other fragments, which prove we can defeat it. We grow by learning. In a game with no hope of winning, we can discover a slight chance of victory. This piece taught us that. With this game piece, Rule X was almost completely defeated. Keiichi Maebara and our other friends won't be led astray by something as pathetic as the Hinamizawa syndrome and dance and tragedy any longer. It has also taught us that the rules aren't indestructible and are possible to overcome. In other words, it has given us, the ones who are on the outside of the game board, hope. It's an important fragment that serves as our turning point and the trigger for everything else. Nice. Okay. next up should be Watanagashi. A fragment of Watanagashi. This game piece reminds us that no matter what happens on this game board, everything is due to the curse or the Sonozaki family pulling someone's strings. Now, to put it in my words, this is the piece that makes everyone aware of the existence of Rule Z. It's hard to notice with just this piece, but this is a complicated fragment where Shion Sonozaki, while trapped in Rule X and mistaking it for Rule Y as hurled about, comes to notice the existence of Rule Z. But this is also the piece that teaches us the rules of the game board. By the way, the piece called Shion Sonozaki is a piece coming from the outside from the game's point of view. She dislikes Satoko Hojo at first, but through this and another piece, she learns something important, challenges Rule X, and then grows to be a powerful piece to fight Rule Z. The most ridiculous part of this fragment is that it's hidden so cunningly. It doesn't seem that way at all with just a passing glance. Learn from your mistakes. Please become a powerful piece and lend me your strength to defeat my enemies. Alright. Yeah, these fragments are certainly short. We're already through 4 of them, and there's 4 more to go. Hell yeah! So next should be Mayakashi. The one that anime onlys remember as the one where the knife. And the haha yandere. This is the piece of Shion Sonozaki, who goes mad after being taken in by Rule X. With no room for sympathy, this is such a painful piece that one can only have pity. It distinctly identifies the keyhole of the padlock called Rule Z. Keiichi Maebara becomes the key himself to pry open this padlock. And as Mion Sonozaki wished for, he becomes a wind that clears out the stagnant air filling the village. This piece also teaches us an important lesson. Shion Sonozaki learns through this piece, and then becomes a strong ally for Satoko Hojo. In that way, maybe Satoko Hojo is a piece that represents the padlock for Rule Z. Unless she is saved, Rule Z can't be defeated. And when she is saved, that means Rule Z is defeated. This piece indicates only that. That's the only thing Shion Sonozaki learned by gambling her life. But now I think that it's very important. Every time I see Satoko and Shion argue about pumpkins, I think about that. Alright, that's 5 down. Next is, I'm assuming, Tatari Garoshi. That's the only one that makes sense after all. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Yep, a fragment of Tatari Garoshi. Vwomp. This piece shows us the existence of the unreasonable Rule Z surrounding Satoko, and reveals the most powerful adversary rule on the game board, Rule Y. Can the rules X, Y, and Z be seen now? The enemy we need to fight, the things we need to learn. All are gathered and revealed here in this fragment. At this point, it's impossible to reach Rule Y. Fighting against Rule Z's effect on Satoko is the best that can be done. But in this piece, we make a mistake in our approach for fighting it. The outcome we gain through erroneous means is erroneous itself. Keiichi Maebara learned that through his own experiences. A tragedy doesn't possess the power to overcome tragedy. Violence doesn't possess the power to overcome violence. If they can grasp that, all the pieces on this game board will learn the true way to fight. But Takano is too powerful. The shocking end of this piece doesn't allow us to learn it that easily. Alright. All that's left is Minaguroshi and Matsurebayashi. And then we'll be done at long last with all these fragments. Boop. A fragment of Minaguroshi. This piece can't be connected yet. What?! The game piece that uncovers the invisible Rule Y that has been pulling the strings from the beginning. Because the impression of that is so strong, it's easy to forget about something very important. We can't forget that this piece also shows the path towards destroying Rule Z. While Rika Furude lamented Rule Z as impossible to defeat, it was hardly a match for Ch.8 Matsuribayashi and the others once they learned everything they needed to. They knew the correct way to fight, and fought according to the rules of the game board. As a result, we win, and that fact is more valuable than anything for us. Ch.8 Matsuribayashi taught me a lesson. There is no need to subject ourselves to any fate. The will to believe can defeat anything. The fate that I was always subjected to was created by Mio Takano's own conviction. So what he says is correct. To defeat her conviction, we need a stronger conviction of our own. A strong will can be pierced only by another strong will. We defeated rules X and Z and then challenged the final rule, Rule Y, but we needed more pieces. Each piece fought at its best, but the strength of our enemy's pieces, led by Mio Takano, were just too powerful. She didn't even give us mercy. She squished us completely and made us restart the game all over again. Although we lost, we didn't give up the resolve in our hearts. Because we finally found the true culprit, and also found a clue for how to fight against her. We can't win with the pieces we have now. We don't have a powerful enough conviction or a strong enough will. Bahanyu and I will keep trying. We'll roll our die repeatedly, look for the greatest result, collect pieces, and try again. With a will stronger than Takano. Didn't you think of giving up several times before you got to this point? But you made it because you believed in me and followed me here. We're almost there. We can do it. Let's create the last piece. It'll be the ultimate piece and we won't need anything else. The very last piece of all. Come on, let's collect the pieces. Let's collect miracles. Please give your hopes, desires, and dreams to me. Alright. That means there is only one more. But just in case, I will save beforehand. I guess this is, you know, a last hurrah. One final save before the final fragment. And here we are, a fragment of Matsurebayashi. After collecting miracles from all 7 fragments, I finally got a hold of this one. This fragment holds our final fate. But before we take a peek, please wait for just a little bit. The fate that's inside will be decided the moment we take a peek. Have I told you the story about the story of the cat in the box? Is the cat in the box alive or dead? Oh boy, Schrodinger. I don't care. If you open the box, you'll know, but you won't know until you open it. It could be alive, and it could be dead. In other words, before you open the box, the living cat and the dead cat simultaneously coexist. And the moment you open the box and find out the truth, the incorrect answer disappears. The inside of this fragment is the same principle. The future we desire and the future Takano desires simultaneously coexist. They are opposing and denying each other. Once we take a peek, one of those futures will disappear. If we have enough pieces, we can take a look inside this fragment. But we've only had the same pieces lined up the same way on the game board. And the game under the same condition was Takano's complete victory. We've already tried that in the Minagoroshi fragment. We need more pieces. We need the help of a piece that's powerful enough to defeat Rule Y. Until I get hold of that piece, it's too scary to take a peek inside this fragment. But how do I get such a piece? It's a piece I've never gotten a hold of before. To obtain it, I need to look just one more time. I need one more miracle to obtain that piece. Okay. So, we continue. The fragments are done. Oh, fuck you. Leftover fragments. Do you need the final miracle? Nothing's changed, right? I'm just making sure. Okay, hold up. Fine. Dickhead. I thought it was the last one, and then you're just like, oh, there's a 51st. Bitch ass. Leftover fragments. Do you need the final miracle? What is this? I never noticed this tiny little fragment. Sometimes a fragment gets cracked and it breaks. Just like how the fate we believe in cracks sometimes. A damaged fate is no longer the same fate it was. Then which fate does this piece belong to? I picked up the tiny fragment and tried to match it with the fragments I have in my hand. And the last fragment I picked up was the Himatsubushi fragment. Yeah? This fragment was distorted from the beginning. Okay. And look. See? This tiny piece fits perfectly. With this tiny fragment, how will the world change? What kind of miracle will occur? Oh boy. The whole world warped. Since I put the broken piece back where it belonged, the distortion centered on the crack. But that doesn't mean I can't take a peek inside. It's already past 1985. It's a time... Wait, 85? Wait, what? It's already past 1985. It's a long time after Rika Furude and her friend's stories tragically ended in June 1983. Oh, so is this gonna take place in 85? Beep. Zit. With some mild interference, an order crackled through their headsets. Nimi. All units, the chief has a message for all of you, so listen up. Good work, everyone. The local police have given us 15 minutes to wrap this up, but I'm only giving you a few seconds. Don't let a single person escape. The main target is a diplomat. Don't let him suspect you're a cop. Just grab him. But make sure you leave no injuries. It'll lead to problems if you do. They're dirtbags who hide under diplomatic immunity to deal with the local gangsters. They launder money from drug dealing and force people into the sex trade to pay off high-interest debts. According to the local embassy, some of the victims are younger than teenagers. Shitbags. Normally, this would be a simple case, what with the perpetrators being gangsters. But when the police found out that a foreign diplomat was involved, things got much more complicated all of a sudden. Diplomats have diplomatic immunity, so the police can't arrest them. But they knew he was an important figure in the whole scheme, and there was no doubt that he was the middleman between the foreign criminal organization and the Japanese gangsters. They couldn't let him escape. It'd be easy to deport him, but that wouldn't solve anything. The police had asked the embassy for assistance, but they denied the request. And the case was put on a standstill at that point. That's when they found out that the organization was going to be selling the Self-Defense Force's classified radar and missile technology secrets. The Public Safety Division then had to move on the premise to protect this classified government information. And today was the day that operation was set to go. 2 men at the front stairs. 2 men at the underground entrance. 4 men at the back door. All suspects are believed to be armed. 2 more than usual, huh? It'll only take 2 seconds more for him. He never shows anyone mercy. Can you hear, Akasaka? You're on point. Be careful! Okay, let's move. Oh, this is Akasaka. I copy. Let's go. Okay, Akasaka info. Yo. A man suddenly appeared around the corner downtown. It was Akasaka. He displayed none of the naivete that he did when he first met Rika. Oh, we're in third person. Okay. When he got to the entrance of the underground club, a bouncer with a heavy foreign accent stopped him. This place, members only. Do you have membership card? Akasaka pulled a card out after being asked. It was a card that was very difficult to forge, so they could only get one. As the man on point, he was the one to receive it. The bouncer let Akasaka in after confirming he had a membership card. Akasaka-san passed the bouncer at the entrance. He's going down the stairs. Come on, Akasaka. At the bottom of the staircase, there was an overly decorated door like the ones you'd see at a high-class club. The venomous glow of the cocktail lights lit it up. silently warning everyone it was an entrance to a den of evil. Welcome. May I see your membership card? The guard at the entrance took the membership card and put it through the card reader on the wall. Beep, an error sound. Slight perspiration could be seen on Akasaka's forehead. The guard swiped the card a couple of times more. Beep, beep. Akasaka saw it as having a problem. Did they change the system? If Akasaka's encountering trouble, we'll change plans. Secure his safety pronto. The expression on the guard with him steadily grew dour. His right hand reached inside of his pocket, probably fingering his gun. Ding! The buzzer suddenly rang with a delightful tone, and the card reader flashed a green light. Immediately after that, the lock on the door opened up. Thank you for waiting. Please head on inside. The guard pulled his hand out of his jacket and opened up the heavy door. Loud music and flashing colorful lights spilled out from the inside. From within that, a well-dressed guard appeared to welcome Akasaka. At this moment, his first mission was accomplished. Having acted as the go signal for the remaining units, Akasaka was also in the dangerous position of being in enemy territory all by himself. The door was the biggest obstacle for their ambush. The door locked automatically, so whenever it was closed, it was also sealed that way. It was a solid door and nearly impossible to open from the outside. Somebody had to not only open that door, but keep it open for several seconds in order for the raid to begin. Akasaka was the only one who could do that. Akasaka, entrance secured. Commence operation! The complex on the other side of the club was getting a new tenant, and there were 2 trucks parked in front of the building. But of course, that was just a disguise. The door to one of the trucks opened, and several dozen plainclothes investigators jumped out. The same thing was happening at the back door, too. The ground-level guards noticed this and began to draw their guns, but were taken down immediately by nearby investigators who had been pretending to be innocent bystanders. Several dozen investigators quietly went down the underground stairs. These narrow underground stairs were another obstacle to their operation. Everything would end up on the security camera. The raid would become known within a few seconds. For that matter, a push on the security button would make it impossible for the lock to be opened from the outside. That's why they had to secure the door before the ambush. The guards on both sides of Akasaka noticed the loud footsteps coming down the stairs. The well-dressed guard also realized that something was wrong. The 3 guards shifted their attention from Akasaka to the stairs behind him. And as he sensed that attention shift, Akasaka took a quick, deep breath and then stopped breathing entirely. The 2 guards standing beside him suddenly rose into the air in strange positions. Oh? Okay. Apparently he's going fucking Super Saiyan. Akasaka had determined his position relative to the 2 guards next to him, so he didn't need to check with his eyes. But even so, his fists had been driven into their faces with such precise accuracy. His moves were well-trained ones, and showed no mercy against evil. They were as destructive as armor-piercing ammunition. And furthermore, Akasaka had retracted his arms at the same speed he struck. Everything looked so strange in the flashing lights. The man who witnessed all this probably couldn't figure out what had just happened. The 2 guards were up in the air in strange positions, and the man who had been standing in front of him was now crouching low. Then that frozen moment shattered. The well-dressed guard was smashed into the ceiling, and shortly afterward came crashing down onto the floor. Later on, while slurping liquid food, he would desperately try to remember whether it was a fist or a leg that broke his jaw. He would probably never quite recall it. Rather luckily, the way his body fell blocked the door, so Akasaka didn't have to hold it open any longer. This is Akasaka. I'm going in. Wait! Wait for your backup! Akasaka! The room was filled with loud music, but everyone had already noticed the brouhaha at the entrance. Everyone, get down! Soon as Akasaka bellowed his warning, screams filled the club. Most people immediately hit the floor as if trying to proclaim their innocence. But all the guards reacted quickly to Akasaka. In the midst of all this, there were a few people who were trying to make their escape through the back alongside several guards. Akasaka restarted his breathing once and then stopped it again, and then ran after them like a wolf. He jumped up onto the table, smashing expensive bottles of alcohol, scattering glasses with ice cubes made from the icebergs of the Arctic. A foreign bodyguard, whose previous profession must have been a professional boxer, thoughtlessly stood in front of Akasaka. With a heavy accent, he tried to taunt his opponent. But Akasaka couldn't have cared less about that. The only display that man was able to put on for him was that he was able to block Akasaka's attack. But it wasn't even an effective guard. The power of Akasaka's punches were so incredible that they simply broke the man's bones in his attempt to block them. The man's arm warped in a strange way. In the moment after the agony showed on his face, Akasaka's left arm ground into it. Akasaka, you see, is right-handed. That man should consider himself grateful that he was able to get away with a mere orbital fracture. Thinking that this was his chance, another man attempted to tackle Akasaka-san from behind. He assumed that no matter how strong a man was, he'd go down quickly when attacked from behind. He also assumed that as Akasaka was concentrating in front of him, he wouldn't be expecting an attack from behind to begin with. But that would only be true if Akasaka was just concentrating on his front. Indeed, the attacker was very wrong, for Akasaka was no longer even thinking about the man before him. Akasaka knew exactly when and what was about to happen. The experience he has built up to this day taught him that. His body, more than his mind, remembered the timing for when menaces to society like these would make their move from behind him. Akasaka's attack continued fluidly from the left arm punch that he struck against the ex-boxer. His left arm retracted, and at the same time, he arced his left leg around beautifully as it crashed into the man approaching him from behind. A dull sound signified that his nose had been broken, but Akasaka already knew that. Akasaka continued his motion and directed a decisive right blow to the side of his assailant's head. The man slammed into the wall and bounced off of it, rolling on the floor. Akasaka took another breath. Under the glare of the dazzling club lights, the guards realized they were up against a demon. Yes, they realized that there was no way to take him down. The guards were being paid to deal with humans. Fighting demons just wasn't in their job description. At that moment, backup finally arrived. And maybe finally isn't a suitable word. Everything that happened did so over a matter of seconds. The time it took for Akasaka to take down those 5 guards was a span of merely 2 breaths. Put your hands above your head and get down on the floor! If you resist, we will open fire! Thanks to Akasaka's furious action, the flow of events was already set. Akasaka's intimidating first strike shattered the gang leader's will to run. They were all down on the floor, but one of them began smiling. You shouldn't touch me. It'll lead to an international incident. Akasaka grabbed him by the collar and threw him against the concrete wall. Aren't you a policeman? I have diplomatic immunity. I'm a diplomat. Good for you. How much did you get paid, huh? This will be an international incident. I'll be calling the ambassador. Ah! With a dragon-like roar, Akasaka's right fist pounded the wall right next to the diplomat's head. Over and over, apparently. Immediately after that, his left fist pounded the wall on the other side of that head. And soon enough, Akasaka had pounded the wall several times, each just a sliver away from the diplomat. His fists were easily powerful enough to crush the man's head. The diplomat crumbled to the floor. This is Akasaka. Target secured. Further investigations discovered a secret getaway route that even public safety didn't know about. Dozens of Soviet military-grade machine guns were found, and if Akasaka hadn't stopped them there in the club, they would have escaped. Or even worse, the operation might have ended with a brutal death toll on both sides. All thanks to how well Akasaka executed his duty, the operation was completed without a single shot fired. Come on, hurry! The local police will be here soon. Put them on the truck! Since the foreign diplomat was involved, they had to make sure it didn't look as though the whole operation was carried out by the police. Instead, it was made to look like a simple gang war. They would dump the useless gang members and hand over the target to the police. Of course, before handing him over, they'd make sure he spilled everything he knew. That diplomatic pig would be used as a negotiation device by another part of public safety. They found plenty of evidence that said pig was tied to an underground criminal organization. Not wanting a persona non grata on their hands, the embassy would likely cut all ties with him. The rest would be the business of other departments. Public safety's job was to take care of the things regular police couldn't deal with. Akasaka, are you okay? Come in, Akasaka! This is Akasaka. We're on our way. You've done it again! Report to the chief to get reamed out later? Akasaka-san, you sure are a demon. 5 men within mere seconds? That's not even karate anymore. Your fish should be recategorized as lethal weapons. Sure was lucky that none of them drew their guns, though. Knowing how brutal Akasaka-san is, he could have turned them into honeycombs. Shut up. Don't make me sound like an assassin. I show no mercy against evil, that's all. The pigs he had just caught were no average criminals. They had committed so many unforgivable sins. The strength behind Akasaka's fists was proportional to those sins. The heavier their sins, the more powerful his blows would be. Come on, round them up! Akasaka, make them hurry! The local police will get here quickly! This is Akasaka, understood. Didn't you guys hear? Hurry up! Roger! Command, we have 5 injured here! Police have meds ready! There wasn't any trace left of Akasaka's old naivete. Fuck, I can't read. Or scroll. He had grown to be the vigilant ace of his department. Oh, that's it. You go, Akasaka! Fucking based WWE wrestler except for real, you know? Alright, well, I think I'm gonna end this episode here. A little short of an hour, and we had like a 20-minute Sotsu discussion, but that won't happen ever again. Yeah! Every episode of the series from now on will just be an hour or more-ish of just the game. So, yeah. Huh. Still feels weird that Sotsu's over, but I don't want to spoil anything in the regular video, so yeah. It's even weirder, I guess, that the fragments are done. That's going to be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!